Who do you think tried to take you out?
So I'm going to give you some big breaking news, right?
Barrett is 18, he's
Yeah.
handsome, he's tall, he's rich.
He's got the whole ball.
He's unleashed in New York City.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to reverse Roe v. Wade now?
I'm going to make this country great again. It's not a great country right now.
It's always a great country.
See,
It's
that's why I
always a
disagree.
great country.
Okay, but I'm good with names, you know.
You are. Tampon Tim was good. Is
The problem
that?
with Tim, it's hard to say. There are some, like Comrade Kamala. It's a little hard to say. She's not bad, but when you put the names together, it's a little, you got to be able to pume.
Did it. That was the best dodge of a question.
You know what I mean?
You almost charmed us out of it.
Trying to get out of it. How are we doing so far?
You're doing amazing.
So-
They're making us wrap up. We want you for a long time.
Give them a little more time. What the hell? These are great questions. What the hell? But they lie, and they know it's a lie. She lied about many things, and she's a liar. I have a hard time doing it to them. You know, I'm basically a truthful person, but frankly, no, but frankly, no, but
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Flagrant. And today, this is the first time that we've been able to say this. We are sitting down with Mr. President. Mr. President, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you, fellas.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
this is awesome. We have a bunch of questions. We're very, very grateful for your time.
Okay.
I just became a dad. My
Oh.
buddy over there just became a dad, Mark.
Yep.
That's
and
good.
okay, so here's first question.
Great.
You have these children that are seemingly well-adjusted, successful, and I think most importantly, they appear to like you.
Yeah.
Okay,
They better.
I grew up in the city, and there's a lot of people who had like very wealthy parents, and like the kids kind of resent them. They're almost like waiting for them to like die, and they end up in like rehabs and
Doing
all this
drugs,
other
God
stuff.
knows what, yeah.
How do you raise them in the public eye where they, still
Yeah.
become ambitious and successful?
So I do have good kids and 5 really wonderful children, and different, very different. Yeah, they are so different. But one thing that was in common that I did, I always used to say when I was with them or when they were leaving a room, I would drive them crazy. No drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. I would say that.
Did you say
automatically.
that to Don Jr.?
Yeah, Don's a little wild. He's a wild. He can be a little tough.
He told me a funny story.
Go ahead.
Okay. I talked to a bunch of people. I was trying to, prepare for this
Right,
interview.
right.
He told me a funny story. And he said to me, he goes, once he asked if he could have a couple of his friends over for New Year's, was it New Year? No, it was July 4th.
Right.
On top of Trump Tower.
Right?
And
5
you said
friends.
yes. He's like, I want 5 friends. You're like, okay, I'm out of town. Go for it. He brings 200 people over to Trump Tower. Okay?
That's right.
Okay. He says that you weren't supposed to be there. You end up showing up. You hear some noise upstairs. You come up. You go, what the fuck is everybody doing here? Get the hell out of my house. He said he cleaned for the next 36 hours. And he said, to this day, you have never brought up that it even happened. And he said, I'm starting to believe it might not have happened. So
said that's
can,
almost
you give
happened.
him, can you give him closure?
No, it happened. No, I can never give closure. You can never forget. A lot of people like to forget things. You can't know. He's a good guy. And, he's taken a lot because he was always a good student. He went to the Wharton School of Finance, which is great, and he did well. But he went into the world of politics not because he wanted to, but because I was there, and I sort of automatically you drag the family in. Mm-hmm. And this guy, what he had to go through with Russia. He goes, Dad, they're asking me questions about Russia. I don't know anything about Russia. What's going on? And all of a sudden, he's in front of grand juries. He's in front of Congress.
Yeah.
It was a hoax. It was a total hoax.
Yeah.
This was a made-up hoax by crazy Nancy Pelosi and these, the maniacs.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton, who's totally nuts.
Yeah.
And this went on for 2 years. And he'd always say, Dad, I know nothing about this stuff. And he'd go before the grand jury. And, Comey, you have Comey, who's the worst, just a bad guy. But he went through a lot, and it actually made him tougher.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but he's a tough cookie, that one.
Yeah.
And it made, in his case, it made him tougher. Ivanka did a great job. She didn't want anything. All she wanted to do was get people jobs. I would have made her the ambassador to the UN. I wanted to do that. I think she would have been incredible, the whole aura. She would have been great, but she didn't want that. She didn't, and that would have been a very glamorous position.
Yeah.
She would have been great there. All she did is go to see companies and hire people. She wanted, and she hired, I think it was like 10 million people, some incredible amount of people. She'd go to Walmart, she'd go to Exxon, she'd go to these big companies and see if she could get groups of people hired.
Yeah.
And she loved doing it. It was great. And there was no glamour, there was no anything, but she got people jobs that made her
So
happy.
how do you instill the ambition in the kids? I think a lot of kids that grow up with wealth, they kind of are lazy and they feel like they have no direction in life. And a lot of times they turn to like drugs and other shit. How do you instill the ambition?
Well, you know, I've seen a lot of wealthy families where the kids are mostly don't work out too well. Some don't turn out to be bad kids, but they end up hating the father, or the father maybe wanted them in business. I mean, I have one father that's very competitive with his son. He's if the son were more successful than him,
He would hate it.
He would be unhappy. I said, "Are you crazy? It's supposed to be the other way around."
That's awesome.
My father was so proud of me. He was a successful guy. But my father wanted me to be more successful. I mean, he was so proud of all the things. I wish he could have seen what happened because we did things. But he was, you know, he's just a proud father.
What do you think?
And I think most fathers are that way. I hope that. But I've known many fathers that are very successful that didn't want that broke up over their son's success. If, you know, in the few cases where the son was more successful, which was very seldom, actually. You know, it's very seldom. You take people like in sports, because in sports you see it, because it's a microcosm of life, but it's quicker. And you'll take like the greatest golfers, and they'll have a son, and he'll be really good as a young, but they never supersede, almost, I can't think of any, they never supersede the father in terms of success. And in sports generally, baseball, you can go to a lot of different sports. And it really is a sort of a microcosm of life. But with life, it takes a lot longer to find out the end
Come to
result.
fruition.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we said you're a great father up top. First thing you say is, I've got great kids. You didn't take credit. And then your entire answer, and I thought this was really cool, your entire answer is about how great your kids are. That was a very cool thing.
Thank you. That's very nice. I think I like this interview. I think,
That's genuine.
I think it's right. And by the way, congratulations. I hear your show is crazy monster success.
We're doing pretty good. We're very, we're interviewing your president.
It's really good. And right in the middle of a campaign with only 29 days to go.
Yeah.
And you're taking up time. Don't you feel
Just to talk about your family.
Yeah, we're just complimenting
you know what it is? It's a different world out there. You guys and some others.
Yeah.
You know, we had the standard television stuff for many years, and that's still, I think it's underrated now. I think it's still very important. But, but there's a whole new thing. Elon interviewed me on something.
Yeah.
And I think they said 275 million hits or listens.
That's a lot of people.
That was a record.
That's a nation. Yeah.
But it's a whole new, different way of
Can I ask you a question
getting the word out, right?
About Elon specifically, is he your favorite African-American?
He's a piece of work, I'll tell you. You know, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's obviously a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
I mean, when I saw the rocket engines come back, I said, what is that? Like a couple of years ago, you've never seen rockets go up and then they crash into the water.
Yeah.
And I see the engines are coming back, and they're landing.
It's unbelievable.
They're landing, and they land on a raft in the middle of the ocean someplace with a little dot, and they land right on the top of the spot.
And my wife can't parallel park.
I know, most people can't. But no, he's great. But he's got a great heart. He was with me, as you know, on the other night.
Yeah.
And we were honoring a man who got killed at a rally, Corey, firefighter, great guy. And it was a beautiful evening. But Elon went out, and he loved the crowd. He loves the country.
Yeah.
And he's picked a side. A lot of people don't want to pick a side. I have a lot of people that are big supporters of me.
Yeah.
But they won't go all out. You know, they can't.
They're scared.
Quite.
There's a
They're
cost.
scared. Yeah. There's a cost.
Yeah.
There is a cost, but there's also a liability. I mean, you know, some people, I respect it a lot when this guy was up there doing jumping jacks. You got to vote for Trump. You got to vote
He
for
was jumping high.
Yeah.
He was jumping high.
Looked
You know
quite
what?
African.
When he jumped, he's in good shape. I'm looking at his waist. I'm saying, wait a minute, does he work out or something? But he really, and he had a great time. And you know, he's not out that much. He's probably maybe a little. Would you say he's a little reclusive, possibly?
Yeah. He's also busy. He's got like 5 different
he's very
companies.
busy and maybe a little reclusive. Yeah. But he had the greatest time. He was saying, look at these people. We had 100,000, more than 100,000 people.
Yeah, I saw.
It was a record. It was, nobody's ever seen. And it was really, it was a celebration of a life. And it was really it was a mega deal.
Yeah.
And he was a big MAGA person. His family was there. And two other people that were very badly hurt were also celebrated. They
Yeah.
were very badly hurt. They weren't actually expected to live.
Yeah. Oh,
And
wow.
they lived. And they had incredible doctors. Some of those country doctors are better than the big doctors that we spend a lot of money on, and they don't do as good. I will tell you right now. I don't want to knock anybody, but those country doctors saved two people, because I was told that three would.
Country doctor.
No, think of that. Three would be in trouble, and three were going to. Now Corey immediately, but the other two were so bad that they thought they wouldn't make it.
Yeah.
And those country doctors, they pulled them together. They did a great job.
Okay, so you're going back into this place where, there was this assassination attempt. They hit you. Headshot.
Yeah.
You survive.
Yeah. It was not a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
Beer looks better,
scared?
by the way.
No, I'm not scared. I have an attitude. It's interesting. It's sort of, it is what it is. Does that make any sense to you guys?
Yeah.
You do what you have to do. I felt it was important to go back. A lot of people, I guess, agreed with me, because it was over 100. I think they said 108,000 people in the end. That's a lot of people.
Super Bowl.
And I had no guitar. If you have a guitar, it's easy. When you don't have a
I thought
guitar,
you said Qatar.
Yeah, me too.
I was like,
I have guitar. I do have that. They like me very much, but I don't have a guitar.
yeah, you have the
right?
guitar. Yes.
So anyway, but that was amazing. It was amazing. I mean, I like it when somebody like Elon, who has a lot to lose, is
Yeah.
willing to do what's right.
Yeah.
Some people know it's right to do, and I'm not just talking about endorsements and all, but they don't want to do things
Yeah.
because they're.
They don't want it to cost them opportunities
the word
in
is
the future.
they want to be politically correct, and
Yeah.
actually they're doing a bad thing. I think for themselves and for a lot of people they may represent.
Okay, opening line when you walk out there.
So
Right.
good.
I mean, amazing.
I was wondering what you were going to say, and as a comedian, you can seize the moment.
Yeah,
And
I hear he's a hell of a comedian, by the way.
I appreciate
That's
that.
what the word is.
So I hear you go. I see the video, and you go up there and you go, as I was saying.
Right.
Crowd goes fucking berserk, or what?
They went, I would say, crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wasn't
Biggest pop
sure.
you've
so-
experienced.
Yeah, I'll tell you how, you have this as a comedian, or even not as a comedian, just when you make a speech or you make some very serious statement.
Yeah.
So we're at a very serious and somber thing,
Event,
because
yeah.
we're celebrating a life that is no longer with us. And I wasn't sure whether or not that thing, I had it in my mind for a long time. Once I said I'm going back, which I wanted to go back immediately, I wanted to actually finish my speech, okay? When I got up, I said, let me finish my speech. But I'm surrounded by like 8 very large, strong
Yeah.
men and a very wonderful woman. You saw that.
Yeah,
tape.
yeah.
But I'm surrounded by guys. They said, "Sir, no way, go." And I have blood pouring down. But I really wanted to finish my speech. I said, I think I had like 50,000. I had a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And when I went down, I was sort of like embarrassed. I said, I went down in front of all these people. That was my first thing. I don't want to be embarrassed.
You were
but I
embarrassed that
wanted
you
to-
went down after being shot in the head?
Well, you weren't exactly sure what the hell was happening at first,
Yeah.
But also, you came back up with the fist
I
raised.
did.
That's one of the hardest
I
pictures.
did, but I was also,
Did you hear them say he's down, or were you just like?
So
I'm
when I
going-
got hit, I assume that it's funny.
is it?
When I was down there, it is sort of strange. I guess now it's a little bit. We can smile a little bit, but not really, because the 3 guys, 1 killed,
Of course.
2 very
What a
badly
dick.
hit.
Yeah.
But when I went down, I had total realization. It wasn't a surreal. They talked about a surreal. That could be a surreal experience, like when something happens, some traumatic thing happens. People they lose focus. They have no idea where they are. I've heard many people where that happens. Something really terrible happens like that. It was just the opposite. I knew exactly what had happened. I got shot in the ear, and Secret Service thought I may have been shot. Actually, they were pretty sure that I was shot all over because there was a lot of blood. Just a little fact, if you get shot in the ear, it's the bloodiest place. It bleeds more than anything else.
Oh, wow.
Now, it's good to be shot this way, not that way.
Yeah.
That way,
Yeah,
that's
not-
bad.
bad.
So if I don't turn, I would be doing this right now,
So
guaranteed.
crazy.
Guys, I got some stand-up shows coming up for the Life Tour. These are the remaining shows of the Life Tour. This weekend we'll be in Minneapolis and Milwaukee. We're going to Denver the following week. We have added a third show there. Also going to Cincinnati that weekend. We had a second show there. Rama, Ontario as well. We're also going to be going to Salt Lake City. We added a second show there. Reno, we have 2 shows. San Jose, we added a second show. Portland, and then we are wrapping up the tour December 21st in Honolulu, Hawaii at the Blythedale Arena. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming out to this tour. It's been absolutely incredible. TheAdrianSchultz.com for tickets. Don't get by the resellers. Go grab those. I will see you out there. Thank you so much. Peace.
Also, show dates. October 10th, we got a show tomorrow. It's sold out. You can't come. October 17th through 19th, I'm at the Stress Factory. We already sold out 6 shows. We're adding a 7th. Hurry up and buy those tickets. I keep telling you, it will sell out. I am in India, essentially. It's New Jersey. These tickets are selling out like hot cakes, hot jalebi, if you will. October 17th, we added a 4:30 p.m. show. That's how crazy it is. Buy those fucking tickets. I said the 17th, I meant the 19th. Also, 25th, 26th, I'm in Richmond, Virginia. Hurry up and buy those tickets. November 1st and 2nd, buy those tickets. I'm in Lexington, Kentucky. All those dates are at AkashSingh.com. Also, I'm still at Fanbases doing the damn thing. If you want to place your bets with stake, I'm going to get picks from betting experts. You suck at gambling. Be honest with yourself for once in your life. You ain't won shit in your life. And I know this because I probably know sports more than most of y'all, and I still be losing. So I just steal these guys' picks because they're professional cappers, they call them. That means they're professional gamblers. This is a little euphemism. Anyway, I'm also going to talk some sports on there. We're going to live stream this Thursday, do a little live stream during the Thursday night football game. We're just going to have some fun, talk some sports. If you missed that, come see me, Fanbases. Let's get back to the show.
My son, Don, told me, actually, he's a great shooter. So is Eric. They're great shooters. They're like better than scratch, okay, if you use
Yeah.
And they say it's amazing because it was 130 yards. To me, that sounds like far away, but it's not. For shooting, it's not. He said that would be like sinking a 1-foot putt for just a decent shooter.
Wow.
And I don't know if you guys are shooters, but they said if you're a shooter, it's almost impossible to miss. It's that close. It's really considered that close. I mean, 300, 400, 500 yards is very doable, but this is supposed to be very close. And so he said, I think Don became more religious, actually, you want to know the truth. It had a big impact. He said, it's impossible. The doctor, actually, when I got to the hospital, they were fantastic, Butler Hospital. I get there, and the doctor greeted me, and he looked at me and looked it over. He said, you are the luckiest man I've ever met.
Wow.
He said, you should immediately go out and buy a lotto ticket. Can you imagine? He's telling me to buy a lotto ticket. There's blood all over the place.
Yeah.
And he said, I've been doing this for 25 years. He said, I've never seen a thing like this.
Wow.
Because it's just whacked it. But it was something that was, relatively not so bad compared to what could have happened. So I feel very lucky. It was an amazing experience, a horrible experience in most ways. In some ways, it was beautiful because I was somehow I hopefully Corey's protected too, who's the firefighter, and he's in a good place, maybe a better place than we're in
Hopefully,
here,
yeah.
because this world is a little bit on the tough side. But it was an amazing experience.
Do you feel like a increase in your spirituality after something like
Well,
this?
maybe, especially when I'm hearing from people that do shoot and are good at it, that it was almost impossible to miss from, like a 1-foot putt.
You start to
very
believe.
hard. You got to miss it. That's a bad putt, right?
Yeah.
He equated it to a 1-foot putt. When they say that, I say, wow, that's so, you're saying, they said a bad shooter would hit you from that distance 100% of the time.
Wow.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And here I am. We're doing this wonderful interview with 4 geniuses that are hot as pistols, right? Good hearing this guy.
Yeah. Likewise, sir.
Pretty good stuff you got there. So anyway, but here we are.
Who do you think tried to take you out?
So I'm going to give you some big breaking news, right?
Love that.
Because I know the kind of show and it's entertainment, but it's also very serious. I mean, I get the whole picture. And you know what? If it was just funny stuff, you wouldn't have the success you've got, to be honest with you, right?
Yeah.
It's nice to intersperse it, but I'll give you something. So first of all, I have great respect for the Secret Service. And the guys that were with me, I went down and I did a good job going down because those bullets were winging over my head. If I would have been up for another couple of seconds, I also wouldn't have been here.
Yeah.
But I didn't consider that as lucky as turning to the right at that one. It was like 1/16 of a second.
Yeah.
Was the only time that
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I was safe, essentially.
Right.
If I would have gone a little further, I would have been hit. If I would have gone not as far, I would have been hit. I mean, I had like this little tiny moment. And the amazing thing is the sign is always on my left, and it's always at the end. And I only use it 20% of the time, maybe even less than that.
And this
was
time
a
it's on the
chart.
right.
This was a chart on immigration
Yeah.
because I have the record. I did a great job in immigration. They are not doing too well right now.
Stay on the breaking news. Stay on the breaking news.
So here's the breaking. So you have this shooter, and you have another shooter, right? Yeah. So this shooter had 3 or so cell phones. The FBI's never gotten them opened.
Wow.
The other shooter, 3 apps, they call them. And I believe they were foreign-based apps, from what I understand.
Oh, wow.
They haven't opened them, and they're foreign-based. And, you know, you hear all about Iran, because I was rough with Iran, but I want to see Iran do great. I want to see Iran do great.
Yeah.
But I want to stop all the killing and all this. And I was rough on Iran, and they supposedly have a hit on me. In fact, I think it takes great courage for you people to be interviewing me, because it could be now, you know.
Yeah.
They could
Well, we
be
didn't know
right
that
now.
before we got in here.
No, if
Cool.
you would have known that, you might not have done this.
Yeah, exactly.
Secret Service.
In fact, this is a good way of me getting the interview to be shorter. All of a sudden, he's going to say, you know, okay, that's it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Go
It's
see
been a
my
great
daughter.
show. Anyway, they have 3 apps, and foreign-based, 2 of them, maybe 3 of them are foreign-based. They haven't
Wow.
opened them yet. Why wouldn't you open them when you hear about Iran or when you hear about, you know, foreign? Then the other one had 6 cell phones, and they haven't opened. Now, you know, it's very hard to open a cell phone. Only Apple can do it in theory, unless you have somebody. But they had no problem getting the J6 people's cell phones open. They opened their cell phones very quickly. You know, we have 2 countries in a way. What's happening here is very bad. It's very dangerous. We almost had one because I had the greatest economy in the history of our country, and people were coming together. We almost had one, but we really do have 2 right now, and it's a shame because I think we'll get them together. Success will bring us together, but they should get those phones opened. And, you know, when there's an assassination attempt on a former president who's now, I'm proud to say, leading in all the polls against the Democrat, I don't know which one is running. You know, you don't know what the hell's going on. I'm the only one that had to run against 2. I run against 2 Democrats, but this is a first. We create a lot of firsts. Usually you run against somebody. Here I run. I had the debate. I was way up on him.
Yeah.
And then they say, oh, let's put some. This is like with Dana White, a fighter. So you're fighting, and the one guy's getting killed. And they say, oh, that's okay. Let's put in another fighter
him in.
to finish it off, okay?
Yeah.
And you're fighting. You say, hey, wait a minute. I have a brand new fighter in here.
WWE.
I spent $150 million on beating Biden. And then all of a sudden I hear that they're going to overthrow him. It was a coup. I mean, it really was. But I would like them to open up these apps and find out what's in there. And so he had six cell phones. Who has 6 cell phones? Having 6 cell phones is weird. I have cell phones. If I ever have 2, it's like a lot.
Yeah.
He had 6 cell phones. Why does he have them? And why haven't they opened up those cell phones?
So if you had to
and
guess.
it's different. You know, if you're a drug dealer, I think it's terrible in many ways, but I guess from another standpoint, Apple, the primary group, people buy those phones because they will never open them for any reason. But they got them open on J6. You know, they opened up their phones, but they don't open. And this is big stuff. This is an assassination attempt, and it could involve other countries.
There was that San Bernardino shooter that they hacked. The FBI was able to hack into the phone. Apple didn't give it up, but they were able
There
to
are
hack in.
some people in the world, very few, that have an ability to sometimes be able to hack in.
Got it.
Very rarely, actually.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing when you think that with all the genius, you almost can't do it. But Apple has a key, and the key is open. I mean, they can do it immediately.
Yeah.
But they don't do it, and they don't do it, and that's one of the reasons that, like, I hate to say it, drug lords feel very confident that they'll never be exposed, and they use their cell phones, their Apple phones, and maybe it's that way with other companies. I don't know. They have Samsung, they have other companies, but it's very hard. Apple's very strong on that. But when it comes to the assassination of a president, leading candidate, former president, all that, I think the rules have to go out and they have to open those things. Then they have to find out. And
in terms of national
some
security,
people would
you
say
think
you have to either punish Apple or you have to get somebody that can do it. But in terms of national security, so the one guy has 6 phones, lots of messages to people. Who are those people he's calling when he's hiding behind a bush?
So if you had to guess, I'm sure you've thought about this a lot. It's an assassination attempt. If you had to guess, who do you think is responsible?
These are great questions. What the hell? I don't get these questions from the fake news.
Rosie O'Donnell's not asking
Like
this.
Deface the Nation. They have the woman on Brennan. She's on Deface the Nation. She was terrible with the way she handled J.D. Vance, who did a great job the other night.
He did do a great job.
But I don't get questions like that. Did you ever hear of the show? Deface, ladies and gentlemen, it's Donald Trump on Deface the Nation. It's called Face the Nation. They hate me.
No,
they spend millions of dollars.
They would name a show that?
Oh, I see. You didn't hear of it. That's good. They spend millions of dollars on the name CBS.
Yeah.
And then I come along and I say it's Face the Nation. It's well done. Or Meet the Fake Press.
Yeah.
Meet the press.
You're good at this.
I say Meet the Fake Press.
Yeah.
And they spend all this money, and then I say it once, and it goes to millions of people.
Yeah.
But no, they are fake. But some of these questions are much better.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm honored.
Much better.
You still haven't answered, though.
That was the best dodge of the question.
That's your second best dodge in your life.
You almost charmed us out of it.
Trying to get out of it.
All right, fair enough.
Well, look, if you look at assassinations or attempts, first of all, you realize I'm in a very dangerous business.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because 1/10, think of this, 1/10 of 1% of auto races die.
Yep.
Bull riders, I think that's pretty dangerous,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I don't know much about it, but I think I wouldn't want to be on one of those suckers.
No.
Yeah.
I see them flying off and the hoof is like an inch from the eye, and when it hits the eye, you're gone,
Game
right?
over. Yeah.
And they are well, it's about the same. 1/10 of 1%.
Yeah.
And other things, it's never much more than that. That's sort of maxed out, I think.
Yeah.
Race car drivers, bull riders, I think that's pretty much tough.
Yeah.
UFC fighters, it's none. I don't think anyone's ever actually...
Not in UFC. In MMA or boxing,
Maybe.
unfortunately,
It must
there was
be.
those tragic events. Yeah.
Amazingly, boxers die a lot. But UFC, Dana tells me it's a safe sport. I say, to me, it's much rougher. But, it's pretty amazing. They've never, in UFC, they've never lost. And they run a great operation. Nobody's died. But with presidents, it's like a substantial percentage.
Way higher than we
When
realized.
you look at Lincoln and Kennedy and this and that. I mean,
attempts,
you go
Reagan.
through McKinley.
Yep. Garfield.
You look at a lot of people. I'm in
Yeah.
a very dangerous
Dangerous business.
profession.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I call it a profession.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
I
a
like
dangerous profession.
I like that.
I'm sitting with you guys. You have a very nice, safe life. Me?
Yeah.
So, no, if you said 5%.
I think he called us soft.
No,
Yeah,
but think
I'm fine
of
with
it. Yeah, but think of it. 5%.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's high.
That's a lot.
I think even the attempts is something like
Attempts?
25%
Yeah.
of
Attempts
presidents have had
is getting
attempt.
into really
crazy.
numbers. So people don't think of that. You run and you see, and then you win, and you're down Pennsylvania. You're looking at everything. So you're in a
That's the danger
dangerous
starts.
profession.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things. I was saying before, though, that, I do a thing called a weave.
Yeah.
And there are those that are fair that say, this guy is so genius. And then others would say, oh, he rambled. I don't ramble. If I start a story, what you do is you weave things and you do it. You have to have certain things. You need an extraordinary memory because you have to come back to where you started.
Yes.
A weave is only good
They
if
don't
you
give
come
you credit
back.
for that.
Yeah, it's true.
That you could go all the way over here and then
I
get
can
back.
go so far here or there, and I can come back to exactly where I started. Now, someday when you don't come back to where you started,
You're Biden.
then you say, no, but the weave is the way. When you're telling like a story, I was telling a story at a rally the other day in front of thousands of people, and I started off, and then
You were weaving them up.
something in the story,
Bro.
I actually mentioned Air Force One. It was Air Force One was there. So I mentioned Air Force One, and then I said how I got $1.6 billion off the price of Air Force One. So, but then you have to come back to the story. Where was Air Force One taking you?
As I
So
was
anyway, I do a weave. I call it the weave. And some people think it's so genius, but the bad people, what they say is, He was rambling.
Yeah.
It's not a ramble. There's no rambling.
This is a
with
weave.
it. This is a weave. I call it the weave. Good name. I'm not sure. That's another name. We had fake news.
Yeah,
We came
yeah.
up with lots of names.
Yeah.
But the weave is, I think we should make the weave a part of that
Yeah.
stable.
Yeah, you really weaved away to answering my question twice.
That's brilliant.
So
'Cause I don't even want to know the answer anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I lost,
keep weaving.
I lost interest.
We'll weave back. Let's weave back to his question. Because this is where it started. So we'll weave back to his. I sort of hate answering it because
Yeah.
I don't want to give any false identities. I don't want to do anything having to do with creating something that isn't there. You would look at Iran. Iran has an open threat out for me, and that's bad. And Biden, if he were a real president, if he were the kind of guy he should be, should say, if anybody shoots a former president who's now the leading candidate, even though he's leading against Democrats, we will bomb that country into oblivion. And it would stop. And that's been said before with some people. You know, there have been people, I won't go into it, but there have been people that have been threatened in another party even. In the same party, it makes sense and probably happens pretty quickly. But in another party, you know, it's hard for them to
cross the
to
line.
want to protect me.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be hard. Other people have protected other people. And what you have to inform those people is if they do it, the country will be blown to smithereens. The entire country will be blown to smithereens. And those threats go away because that's a really bad threat for a country. Forget about me. I'm an individual. But I represent something very important.
It's true.
That's a really terrible threat.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are others that could be in that category. Look, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China at a level that no president took in anything. I had tariffs on China, took in hundreds of billions of dollars. They're still there. That without me, they wouldn't have those tariffs on. So you could say, but no, I think Iran would be the one.
All right, guys, let's take a break for a second because we got to shout out the greatest law firm in America, Morgan & Morgan, America's largest personal injury law firm. For over 35 years, they've been fighting and winning for the people just like you and me. They've won so much that they've racked up more than $20 billion in recoveries for their clients. That's right, billion with a B. So when life tries to slam you with an injury, it might be time to tap in to Morgan & Morgan. And because they've got your back, I'm excited to announce that they're offering one lucky listener $2,000 and 2 tickets to WWE's Royal Rumble. Now, entering to win is easy. Let me tell you, all you have to do right now is text Flagrant to For the People and follow the text prompts. Good luck. Maybe we'll see you there at WrestleMania. Now let's get back to the show.
All right, guys, I'm going to do this ad read again because Miles really doesn't want me to, and I want to add to his workload. You got to know about Cook Unity, man. It's a meal delivery service where meals are actually prepared by award-winning professional chefs. Every meal is prepared in small batches to ensure the highest level of quality in culinary craft. How do I know this? I don't know. Maybe there's a little collaboration coming. Front to back. There are hundreds of weekly menu items you can choose from, dozens of global cuisines, and they got an app that offers a seamless experience to make ordering and planning as easy, pain-free as possible. This is the only meal delivery service that offers you cooking without compromise. You don't got to cook. Professional chefs do the cooking, but you get top-tier quality, variety, convenience, and it's as little as $6 per meal. And if you visit cookunity.com, for Flagrant listeners, you get 50% off your first order and 10% off your next 3 weeks. All you got to do is sign up at cookunity.com/flagrant. Guys, that's all you got to do, cookunity.com/flagrant. And again, keep an eye out. Your boy might have a little something cooking. Let's get back to the show.
I was tough with other countries, but I got along very well with them. But, you know, we were like a pussycat. We were ripped off by every nation in the world, and some of the worst rippers were our so-called allies, people countries that we supposedly get along with, but they're the ones that took advantage of us on trade at a level like, you know, I mean, I ended some of the dumbest trade deals I've ever seen and made them much better for the country. I mean, what difference does it make? I took a terrible trade deal, would make it a good trade deal. But like Japan, I redid the trade deal. South Korea, I did the trade deal. The deals. I went to Abe of Japan. I said, Shinzo, he was assassinated. He was as you probably know, he was incredible, great man. He was a great leader for the people. They loved him. I said, Shinzo, look, we can't do this. The trade deal is so bad. We're friends, but I have to renegotiate the trade deal. And he said to me, I knew that would happen. I said, why did you know? Because you're right. It's so one-sided.
Wow.
It's like he said, I knew you'd catch us. But they went through many presidents where Japan was, as an example, they'll send us millions of cars. We're not allowed to send them any. They send us their farm product. We were sending them practically nothing. It was like a one-way. Everything was one way. And by the way, virtually every. China was the worst, but there were many countries almost as bad. The European Union was almost as bad, in my opinion. You know, it sounds nice. Oh, the European Union is so nice. They were ruthless in their trading. And I said to Angela Merkel, how many Chevrolets do we have in the middle of Berlin? Why? I don't believe any. I said, you're right. And yet we take in all of that. We take in Mercedes-Benz and BMW, and we take in all of this Volkswagen. We're taking in all of these millions and millions of cars. I say, how many American cars are in the middle of Munich or Berlin? And the answer is none. And I had things change around. So, you could say, I think that the answer would be, at this moment, Iran. And I think they could catch him. And if we had a real president, which we don't have a real president. We have a man that is grossly inept. And it's very dangerous because these guys are all at the top of their game. When you talk about President Xi and you talk about any one of the leaders in the world, Macron, and he's a smart guy. He's all for France. I mean, he would take the shirt off your back if you didn't know what you were doing.
So when you're with these guys, are these guys all sharks?
Yeah.
And you can sense the energy immediately?
Yeah, not all of them, but some of them aren't sharks in terms.
How are you assessing personality when you meet them?
I can tell you, like
Great.
Modi, India.
Yeah.
He's a friend of mine. He's great. He's the nicest.
India.
Yeah.
This is for you.
Oh, good. Well, I'll tell you. Do you like him or not?
Yeah.
Do you like him?
I have family on both sides of it. I
Okay,
have
well,
family
let me
that
tell
loves
you.
everything and family
I'll just
that's
tell
not.
you, though. You meet him. I know. Well, they had, before him, they were replacing him every year. It was very unstable. He came along.
He's in a lot for
He's
infrastructure.
great. He's a friend of mine. But on the outside, he looks like he's your father. He's the nicest, total killer. Because I asked him,
Yeah.
we're talking, they did a thing called Howdy Modi in Houston, Texas.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And they filled up the stadium. It was me and him. We filled up the stadium. It was beautiful. Like 80,000 people. It was going crazy. And we're walking around today. Maybe I wouldn't be as, maybe you wouldn't do that. But we're walking in the middle, waving to everybody. Anyway, but we have a very good relationship. He's the nicest human being. But we had a couple of occasions where somebody was threatening India. I said, let me help. I'm very good with those people. Let me help. I will do it. I will do it. And I will do anything necessary. We've defeated them for hundreds of years.
Wow.
He was talking about a certain country. Okay?
Yeah.
You can probably guess
Yeah.
the country.
Yeah.
Can't fathom which.
Do you know the country?
Yeah.
But I said, whoa, what happened there? What happened? So, no, they're all tough and they're all smart. And some are very good people. He's a good person. There's some are good people and some aren't good people. But they're all at the top of their game. And we have her, who is now more important than him, I guess, although he's still president of this country. And we're talking about nuclear war. And he's not capable. He doesn't even know what it is.
Yeah.
He said yesterday when they talked about should they hit Iran's nuclear, no, you shouldn't do that. I said, no, it's sort of just the opposite. Because the nuclear is the biggest threat we have in the world today. It's not global warming where the oceans are rising 1/8 of an inch in the next 500 years.
Right.
The threat that we have, the biggest threat is nuclear war.
Yeah.
You seem
because-
concerned about that.
I am because it only takes one. I am.
Very true.
There are 5 countries now that have capability, and soon they'll have more. And we shouldn't let there be more. And I was at a point very good, despite the Russia hoax. It was a total hoax, and we were totally exonerated and everything else. I could have told them that the first day, but that causes a lot of problems. A lot of problems, and they're a big nuclear power. We were close to a deal for getting rid of nuclear weapons. It would be so good.
For all countries or just Russia?
We were talking about Russia, ourselves, and China.
Oh, wow.
And we would then bring everyone else into it and
So you all
Strongly.
would get rid of your nuclear capabilities.
denuclearize. Yes, we were going to get rid
Totally
of
denuclearized.
nuclear because it's too powerful.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah.
You know, my uncle, Dr. John Trump, was the
Country doctor.
Yeah, Dr. John Trump. Well, he was a nuclear doctor. Actually, he was at MIT. He's the longest-serving professor at MIT. He passed away. Great guy. He was a brilliant guy, a brilliant scientist. And he used to tell me. He said, a long time ago, he'd say, Donald, someday it's very dangerous. Somebody will be able to carry a small briefcase into a building in New York and blow up the entire city.
Oh, wow.
I said, you gotta be kidding me, Uncle John. That will never happen. He was like a really brilliant guy. He was there for, I think, 41 years. He's the longest serving professor in the history of MIT.
Oh, wow.
So when I understand physics and when I understand things well, they say, how come there's good genetics. You know, I'm a believer. Are you guys believers in that? Were your parents funny? Were they comedians?
Yeah, my mom's side was is Scottish, and
Fellow Scottish, yeah.
Oh.
Scottish women tend to be.
You know,
pretty-
my mom.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah,
And she was great.
which is that where you get your humor
Yeah,
from?
well, I'll tell you what. England at the time, they
yeah, they
fought
call
them
it.
for 1,000 years trying to get them undertow. They couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
They're very tough. That reminds me of my mother, come to think of it. Now, my mother was great. She was Stornoway,
Yeah.
the Hebrides, right? That's really serious Scottish.
Yeah.
But she was great. But it is true, when you see Braveheart, that was one of many times, for hundreds
Did you
of
watch that
years.
with your mom by any chance?
No, I didn't. I didn't get to. I'll tell you, I saw Braveheart. I think Mel Gibson is a very good guy. I've met him
Yeah.
a number of times. Good guy, but I'll tell you, that was super Mel Gibson in his prime.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
and I was on a plane, and there was absolutely nothing to do. It was one of these planes that you couldn't make calls, you couldn't do, and they had tapes.
That's all planes for us.
And they showed me they showed me, sir, we have 20 tapes. And I looked at the tapes and they were all, and this was like 20 years after it was made. This was probably 6 years ago. I never saw Braveheart.
Okay.
And
Oh, wow.
they showed me a tape. I said, all right, let's put that one on. And within about 4 minutes, I said, this may be the greatest movie I've ever seen.
Incredible. It's incredible.
Within 4 minutes.
No, I'm not a Braveheart fan, but you've seen it.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
I saw it with my mom. She was
how good?
emotional for like a week.
I wish I saw it with my mother, but it was great.
Was that your Braveheart moment, like after getting shot when you stood up?
No, no. You don't,
No, never
you
take
don't
my
think
freedom.
of that in those moments. You do what you do.
Yeah, thank God you weren't thinking about Mel Gibson.
No, but he's good. But he was when he in prime time. He was great.
unbelievable.
I mean, at
What a run.
that, his look, his way, you couldn't have had a better
Yeah.
guy playing it. But that was a great movie. So,
Yeah.
but it is true. England and
Scotland fought
at
for
the
years.
time for 1,000 years. I
yeah.
mean, they'd have the battles with thousands or once at thousands,
Yeah.
and they run at each other.
Yeah.
Tell me that.
I
you
mean,
think
the-
you
yeah.
think that takes guts? They run at each
Yeah.
other,
I think so.
knowing they're going to pretty much die, right?
The Roman army built walls to keep out the Scottish when they were up in England.
Yeah. They were
Yeah.
afraid of the Scottish. Yeah.
They were afraid.
The Scottish people, they're tough people. They're good people. Actually, they're very great people, but they're good fighters.
But your mom was funny.
She was funny, yes.
That's what I hear.
She was-
I hear
she
she was.
had a great sense of humor, and my father loved my mother. They were married for.
Yeah. Polar opposites, though.
Yeah, my father was German,
Serious.
serious, but good. He was a tough guy, but he had a good heart. When he walked down the street, and they would say we could walk down the street,
Yeah.
he would always give something to. If there was somebody that had problems, he used to have the can and a pencil. The can out. My father would always put $100 in that thing.
wow.
He'd always do it. Now he had a tremendous heart, but he was a tough guy. He was tough. He was just like no nonsense. It was firm. My mother was a woman, and I don't know how your mother felt, but she loved the Queen. Don't forget, the Queen was, the Queen was great. Oh, would she have liked? Because the Queen honored me before she died. She
Really?
honored me as the president in Buckingham Palace. And there's nobody that does it like the English. There's nobody that has that, the pomp and ceremony. But my mother would have loved that. Your mother, so did she feel strongly about like the royalty? or
I
not?
think they're obsessed with the royal family out there, like in general.
Your mother would have been.
She was really into all the pageantry for sure.
My mother was.
Yeah,
My mother thought the Queen was great.
Yeah.
She thought the Queen was so wonderful.
Some of my family hates the English, though. I will be
No, I
honest.
know.
There's some history there.
I know. But
Yeah.
a lot of it's a hard breakup. You know, they tried
Yeah.
to break up Scotland from
Yeah.
the rest of the empire, so to speak,
because they got some oil.
and it made it by about like a half a point.
Yeah.
They kept it together, so I hope it stays together. I hope it always stays together. But England, as they say, because it used to be England, but England never could. And they were bigger.
Yeah.
And they had more people.
Yeah.
They could never finish it off by capturing Scotland. So
Yeah.
it's really sort of,
They ended up having to marry together.
they married.
Yeah.
They became sort of subsidiaries, right?
I guess. Yeah.
But it was great. That's
merger.
interesting with your mother.
Guys, that little chunk of this scintillating conversation with President Trump has been brought to you by the great company Steak, partnered with us here on Flagrant. You know, Steak is it's where you're going to do your gambling. It's where you're going to go do your gambling.
You can even gamble on the election. Who you think
You
is gonna
can
win?
do that. You can, to which we would not try to influence in any way, shape, or form. Okay? So you make those judgments on your own. But you can also gamble on sports. You can gamble on lots of different things. You can do it over there with Stake. And when you use our promo code Flagrant, you are going to get your sign-up bonus when you do that. So you can go do that right now. We appreciate you tapping in, locking in. And when you do your gamble, you're doing it with our partner Stake. Thank you so much. Let's get back to the show. Okay, so the humor comes from there, maybe some other things, because I think that's one thing that there's bipartisan support for you, is even the people that are like, I don't like that guy, will go, hey, he's funny now. He says funny things. Have you heard this before about
Yeah,
it?
I've heard it.
It's very disarming humor.
Yeah, but in my business, in what I do, if you don't have humor, you won't even survive.
Wait, why is that?
Because I think you have to have a light side. I see a lot of dark things. I see horrible things. I see things that are bad. I see political things that are hard. I mean, we have a lot of corrupt people in this country, and I see it. And horrible corrupt people. We have people that, you know, I really do. We have, from the inside, we have really bad people, and outside we do, but I think the outside is much. I think it's easier to handle China. If you have a smart president who knows, you know, some things, if you had who knows how to deal, let's say,
Yeah.
you're not going to have a problem with Russia. Russia would have never attacked Ukraine if I were president. I used to talk to Putin about it. I got along great with him. They would have never, ever done it. I ended his pipeline, you know. I ended the pipeline called Nord Stream 2. Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2.
Yeah.
I said,
how'd you
are
end
you
it?
building a pipeline going to Europe? Yeah. I said, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I got them together. I said, you mean we're defending you from Russia and you're paying them billions of dollars a month for oil? It's not going to work that way. And I ended it. And then when Biden came in, he gave it back. The biggest project they ever had, right? He gave it back. And then everyone said, Trump is friends with Putin and stuff. Putin would say, if you're my friend, I'd hate like hell to see you as my enemy. Think of it. And I put a lot of sanctions on. But I got along with Russia. I got along with pretty much everybody. Actually, the tougher they were, the better I did with them. That's a good thing, not a bad thing, because the other ones are easy to handle. But the ones that I got along with, and they're also the bigger threats. I got along very well with President Xi of China. But when COVID came, I was not happy with him because it came out of the labs. I mean, they released it from accidentally, I believe. You know, a lot of people would say it wasn't an accident, but they got hit very hard. They got hit as hard as anybody in the world. You know, it was late. It was belated. It was a late hit.
Yeah.
But when COVID came, I made an unbelievable trade deal with China. They have to buy $50 billion of our product every year. It was nobody could believe I got that deal done. I don't even talk about it because of COVID. I don't even talk about it. That deal is unbelievable. And what's happened now, our farmers have been hit because Biden hasn't pressed them to honor the deal. You know, I used to, every day I'd get up, how much did China buy today? Sir, I'd call them up and say, you're behind. You have to buy $50 billion. Do you think Biden does that? Biden's sleeping. But over the last week, I have what we talk about, funny or sad. I think it's more sad than funny.
Yeah.
He has one ability I don't have.
Yeah.
he sleeps. He can sleep. This guy goes on a beach and he lays down on one of those, 6 ounce. They weigh 6 ounces and you can't lift it.
Yeah.
They're meant. No, they're meant for children,
Yeah.
young people,
Yeah.
and old people to lift.
Yeah.
They're aluminum, hollowed aluminum.
yeah.
They weigh very little, and he can't lift. And somebody convinced him he looks good in a bathing suit. And when you're 82, typically bathing suits aren't going to make you look great.
Right,
You're
right.
not going to be enhanced.
Yeah.
All right? It's just one of those things. I can't be sure about that, but
Yeah.
typically you don't.
Depends
look
what
great.
he's packing. He could.
I
have
don't know
it
what
like
the
that.
hell he's packing, but I don't want to, and I don't want to know either. I don't know, but he has an ability to fall asleep while on camera. He can lie down on one of those things,
Yeah.
and in minutes he's stone cold out.
How does he
And
do
he's
it?
got
How
cameras
does
because
he
he's the
do it?
president, so they have cameras on him.
Yeah.
And then they show him sleeping on the beach.
Yeah.
You'll never see me sleeping in front of camera.
How do we get you better at that? Like, what can we do? How do we work on that as a country?
As a country?
Yeah.
We got to save our country. Look, we are a nation in decline, whether you like it or not.
I hate hearing that.
I know. I hate
That
it.
hurts me. That
It's
hurts
a-
me.
it's
to
a
hear.
hor-
As a
horrible-
proud American, I
Well, what you
Yeah.
like though is, but we're going to be greater than ever before.
so that's I think
Yeah.
the messaging that I think.
Yeah.
I think that's really nice
well, that's
to hear.
my ultimate message. But
Yes.
you can't avoid the fact that we've allowed 21 million people into our country in the last 3.5 years. And I don't know your persuasion. I don't know if you guys are liberal or what, but nobody can be happy with 21 million people openly walking into a place we don't know. And it was released last week
Yeah.
that 13,000 of those people are murderers. 13,099. 13,000 of those people
Yeah.
are in prison. They're incarcerated for murder, and they let them out.
I think you have
into a-
support on this, though. I think everybody,
Tremendous support.
regardless.
I think I'll let you
of
know.
their
On, I'll
political
let you know
affiliation.
on November 6th.
Yeah.
if I have support.
Yeah. But
the
I
day
don't
after
think-
the election.
I don't think there's
November
pushback.
5th, the most important day.
Yeah,
No,
I
I'll
think
let you
people
know.
are agreeing they want a strong border, and I think
Yeah.
I don't think that's an issue that's like tearing the country apart. But I do think that there is something that
There are
yeah.
some people that want open, and they're either.
But they're like politicians that are getting some sort of reinforcement
Yeah.
through this. The average American, I don't think, is going.
Or
We
they hate
need
our
an
country.
open board. Yeah,
I think only a person that hates our country, actually, maybe it's a down deep hatred, can want open borders. So we took in more than 21 million people in the last 3.5 years, and we have no idea where they even come from. They're terrorists, they're drug dealers. In Venezuela, and it's not just South America, but take Venezuela. They've taken their criminals off the streets of Caracas, which was a very dangerous city. You couldn't walk across the street in Caracas and get a loaf of bread. Right now, it's a safe city. Their crime is down 72%. They've taken all of their criminals, almost all of them, and they brought them into the United States and
Right.
dumped them.
yeah.
That's not ending well. You know where some of them went? To Aurora in Colorado. And they took over the town. They took it over.
the whole town.
Oh, pretty much, yeah. You know how they took it over with guns? If they went into the real estate business, like me, I had to go to a bank and borrow.
Yeah.
They went in with
With guns.
MK-47s, or they went in with
Would have
with
been so much easier.
weapons
Yeah.
like nobody's ever seen before. You
Yeah.
know,
I think most people
they
are
went
on
in with
board.
military-style weapons. They've taken it over.
But I think most people are on board with deporting any illegal that has committed a crime.
Yeah.
Like I think there's bipartisan support of that. I think the tricky thing comes, and honestly, I have empathy. Like you're a business owner.
Yeah.
There's been people. I'm not trying to out you, but like there's been people I'm sure that might not have had like legal citizenship that have maybe worked in various businesses.
that's true.
And it's like, I've definitely been taken care of as a kid by people that weren't legal, babysitters and stuff. So there are people that maybe would like a path to citizenship that I have a lot of empathy for.
You have to start with the criminals.
Agreed.
Okay, look.
But
I
maybe,
had said-
but maybe we can.
It's very tough.
Maybe we can open our hearts a little bit to the people who
agree.
are trying to be,
Right.
good, hardworking
And
Americans.
you know what's going to happen? You're going to be in the midst of this. Now, Dwight Eisenhower was sort of a moderate, General Eisenhower. Did you know that they had 8% generals, president of the United States, 8% were generals, 92% were politicians, and then you had Trump. See, that's a weave. We go off it just
I
for a
like
second.
that.
So-
Because now I'm like, where are we weaving to? I'm into this.
No, think of it, because we're talking about generals, and then you get back onto the general.
There you
because
go.
what I was going to say is that Eisenhower.
I like the
is a
play-by-play
moderate.
for the week.
No, it's good though, isn't it great? We go into it. We mention Eisenhower, and then I say he was a general, 8% generals, 92%, and now you go back. Okay, it's part of the weave. You know?
Yeah.
Then you go back. No, you got to
Finger
keep
roll.
it all together. You got to be sharp. If you're not sharp, you're dead. Think of it. Think of it. No, but think of it. So we have 92% and 8%. Nobody, no admirals, and no business people until me. So now we have me. I'm one.
Yeah.
So I'm.
And then maybe things change after that. Here's
No, I think it will change. There'll never be another business person that ever does this.
Okay, here's a
because
question.
I've been treated so badly that I think that no person of success. Don't forget, my whole life was deals. Most guys are stiffs.
Yes.
Like they'll run for office. There's no deal. There's no nothing. You can't get yourself in trouble much.
Yeah.
You can be a crooked politician, which some are.
Yeah.
But basically, I do so many deals. I do hundreds of thousands of pages of documents a year. You know, when I'm really in the mood, right?
Yeah.
And if they find one page, I got myself a problem politically.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at it. They went after me for years on taxes.
Yeah.
Years.
Yeah.
They went to the United States Supreme Court. I gave them tens of thousands of pages, and you never heard about it again.
Well, that is what often happens, which is probably incredibly frustrating, which is lobbing an allegation,
problem,
and then when it's proven to be false, they just move on.
Oh, they don't
It's
even
kinda
write
quiet.
about it. I called the New York Times on something. I was right, and they
The
said,
Russian
"Are
thing
you
was-
going to do?"
was wild,
Yeah,
like-
the Russian hoax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm suing Pulitzer. You don't know this. They got a Pulitzer Prize for their New York
the
Times,
hoax?
Washington
Oh, wow.
Post. Yeah, for the
Wow.
hoax. They got the Pulitzer Prize.
Yeah.
So the writers got Pulitzer Prizes for their brilliant coverage of the Russia hoax.
Interesting.
But it turned out to be right. So
Yeah.
we wrote a letter to the Pulitzer Prize,
Yeah.
right? You know, the committee, it's a big foundation.
Yeah.
And we said, it's a lawsuit that's going on right
Yeah.
now. And we said, we demand that you take back the Pulitzer Prizes. We demand a apology.
Yeah.
Because you're actually, by leaving them, you're sort of saying it happened and it didn't happen. Everybody now is
Yeah, you're
giving it
rewarding
up.
the lie.
Yeah. So I sued them. They said, well, we did what we did.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's all right. So I sued them. And they've got themselves a big problem now.
Yeah.
And this suit's moving along. And I think we're going to win that suit easily because they gave people Pulitzer Prizes that were wrong.
Yeah.
You know who should get the Pulitzer Prizes equivalent, if you could? Guys like Sean Hannity.
Yeah.
Guys like, that there were numerous of them that, I mean, not as many as the fake news, as the very liberal media, but we had tremendous John Solomon. He's a great writer. So many people knew that was a hoax. They should get prizes. I don't know, Pulitzer Prize, because you don't give Pulitzer Prizes to a guy on television.
Yeah.
You can't get, in theory, a Pulitzer Prize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you had a lot of people that got that right. They got nothing. So we sued Pulitzer on the basis that they should absolutely take that prize back. And I said, by not taking it back, you're trying to say that it actually happened, in a way.
Yeah.
I'm saying you're defaming me because by you
Yeah, I
not
think
taking those
there's
prizes back,
justification.
you're actually saying it happened.
Take a break for a second because some of y'all need to upgrade your wallet. Some of y'all don't because last year you scooped up the Flagrant Extra wallet. Okay, we collab with the best wallet in the business. Why is it the best? Well, not only because they could do that cool thing with all your cards. One, nobody's carrying around cash anymore. So what have we been thinking about? You need something to keep your cards and you need to make sure that you're not going to lose it. How are you going to make sure you're not going to lose it? This thing right here, GPS. If somebody steals it from you, follow that motherfucker back to his house. Call the cops. Don't do anything about it. I don't want that liability. But follow that ass. Also, if you're a thief and you're watching this, don't steal these wallets. You could steal it, but then give it back to them. Be like, yo, I don't want these problems because you could follow me to my house. We have a new thing. They got the Blue Chew pouch, okay? You can put whatever you want in there. We put hard dick. We put hard dick in your wallet. Don't forget to leave your hard dick at home. The Blue Chew pouch inside the new Extra wallet is crazy. The last batch sold out immediately. Shout out to every one of the asshole armies that see me in the street and they pulled out that Extra wallet. We appreciate you, okay? With that Blue Chew pouch, again, you can put whatever you want in there, okay? Percocets, you can make that dick soft or hard, okay? Xanax, you can put whatever you want in there, okay? But this is the Blue Chew pouch. Right now, the #1 rated smart wallet in the world with the Blue Chew pouch, you get to try it risk-free for 100 days. For a limited time, you're gonna get 30% off your Extra Flagrant collab wallet at partner.extra.com/flagrant with the code flagrant. That is partner.extra.com/flagrant. Go do it. Let's get back to the show. All right, guys, let's take a break for a second. Hard dick season is upon us, and you got to make sure that you're stiffed up with the boys or with the girls, with whomever you want to be stiffed up with. Blue Chew has got your back, okay? BlueChew.com. Use that promo code flagrant. Now, our friends at Blue Chew have something exciting coming soon. It's an exclusive, very limited edition merch collab with none other than Antisocial Social Club. And for the record, I've seen them. Designs go crazy. They are going on sale October 12th, 8 a.m. Pacific, and they will sell out, so mark your calendars. Go to antisocialsocialclub.com and be the first to snag one of these incredible designs. Remember, BlueChew.com. Use the promo code flagrant. You're going to get them boners for free. All you got to do is pay $5 shipping. Now let's get back to the show.
Now I have a question, because I know we have a limited time, but important thing. Like,
How are we doing so far?
you're doing great.
You're doing amazing.
Not
They're
bad.
making us
A
wrap up.
little
We want
bit.
you for long.
yeah. No, this is great.
I'll bet it's my people. You know, I do have other things, but
I know you're busy,
this
but
is-
we're
how interesting is this though?
see, this is the fun
You know,
stuff.
he's a
Yeah.
Alex
he's
is a
an
good
influencer.
kid.
Yeah.
He's a good kid.
You know, I asked him. I said, Alex, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
And I wasn't.
Oh, you're not
myself.
telling him he's got
I
time
said,
now.
give him a little more time. What the hell? Can I override Alex? I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah. Unlike Biden, he can't. I can. I can say, Alex, I'm doing it. He'll say, thank you, sir. No, Biden can't. They turn the cameras off with this guy. Do you ever see it? The cameras are off. The lights go off. Everyone. Because you see, he's in deep trouble. We're in no trouble.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what. I asked Alex. He's an influencer. You know, he's a big name influencer. I don't know if he's in this league. I don't know who the hell knows. But I said to him, knowing nothing about influencers, I said, who is the biggest of all the influencers? Sir, that's the easiest question you've ever asked me. Who is it? You, sir.
It's true.
I said, really? I never thought of it. He said, you're the biggest. You have hundreds of millions of people. You have more people than anybody else by far. You know, before they took away, I went from having 280 million on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. The three of them combined, 280. I think I was number one because Zuckerberg told me that. He came to the White House. He said, congratulations, you're number one on Facebook. You know, so I went from that to having nobody. That was like cold turkey, right? You'd call that cold turkey. Like,
Yeah.
That would be like if we didn't do business with China. One day I said, no more business with China. That's, you go cold turkey, right? And I went and I said, boy, but I had a lot to say. This was after the presidency, of course. You know, they do it after the presidency. During the presidency, they're a little bit.
They're very nice.
But anyway, I went totally off. I had nobody. And I had all these ideas. And I couldn't get the word out. And I had some good thoughts. And people wanted to hear my thoughts. And I did a thing called Save America, and essentially it was like the old-fashioned, you guys are far too young. In the old days, what we did, we didn't have tweeting and we didn't have Truth. Truth is doing great, by the way. Would you please use Truth? I love Truth. Use Truth, everybody. It's my voice. But I also use X. But I went from having all these people, and I did an old-fashioned press release. It's called, we used to go to press release.
Yeah.
And somebody would write up something
You send it to all the
and I
periodicals.
started doing it, Save America, and they got longer and better and longer. And I started doing it, and man, I had millions of people. Now nobody else could do that because if somebody puts out a press release, it just doesn't work out too well. But I did it, and it did well. And then I did Truth, and I'm very good friends with Elon, and we owe Elon a lot for what he's done with X. And I use X too. But my voice is on Truth, and it's done really well. I mean, if I want to get something out, I put it on Truth, and everybody picks it up.
That's the thing.
everybody
You
picks
put
it
it there, and then you see other
no, it's
people.
picked up all over the place. It's picked up. I mean, I could be on anything I want, but I put it out on Truth, and it just gets picked up all over the place. So it's been very good. But he said I was the number one influencer. See? The weave.
The weave
Yeah,
is great.
I got
Okay, question. Okay, you've got your son, Barron.
Do you think I'm the number one influencer?
I think it's
So who
Rogan.
else?
I think it's Rogan, you, and Kim Kardashian. Like Kim Kardashian influences the shape of women's bodies and faces. Like you see so many, they're literal
Do they want to
shape
look
of
like
human
Do
beings.
they want to look like her?
They want to look like her.
Thank
So
goodness.
once we start seeing dudes want to look like you,
Yeah.
and I see young Jack over there, I think he's trying to do it.
Yeah.
Jack.
Your
Oh, yeah,
TikTok guy.
TikTok Jack.
TikTok
TikTok.
Jack.
So tell me. You know, this is a little new world. I call him. His name is Jack. I call him TikTok Jack. I'm good with names, you know.
You are.
You're very
are,
good with
you
names.
are,
I
you
mean,
are.
Pocahontas.
Yeah.
We have names.
What about and there was Tampon Tim was good. What about
Tim,
is
the
that?
problem with tampon, Tim, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
In other words,
It's a mouthful.
it's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Tampon. And you can't stutter it through when you call it. It's really a lousy word to say.
Yeah.
But it's quite accurate, right? There are some, like Comrade Kamala. It's
Yeah.
a little hard to say. She's
Yeah.
comrade because she's obviously a communist.
Yeah.
She's
Okay.
horrible.
Yeah.
So I call her comrade.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not bad. But when you put the names together,
Yeah.
it's a little, you got to be able to pume. No, you got to be able to put it out there. But we have a lot of good ones. A lot of them I can't go into with you because some
not?
of my
Give me
best
some,
ones.
give me
Some
some.
of my best ones are from the Republican primaries.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all friends of mine now.
Oh,
And I
now
don't
you
wanna-
got to be nice.
So I've
What
taken.
about
that-
Mike Pence? You got anything for Mike Pence?
Well, it's a shame because he and I had a very good
What happened to him?
relationship.
Hanging out
He
somewhere.
couldn't cross the line of doing what was right, in my opinion. Some
yeah.
people would disagree with that, but he had the right to go and put them before the legislatures and have them reassess because they found out a lot of bad things. And he had a lawyer that said he didn't have that right, but he did have that right. And you know why we found out that that was true? Because they changed the law after the election so that he couldn't do what I said he could do.
Yeah.
Okay? They changed the law so that a vice president could no longer do what I said he could do. So, in other words, I turned out to be right. But it's a shame. We had a very good relationship for 99.9% of the thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think he's a good man. I mean, I think he's a
Oh,
good
that's
man.
good.
Unfortunately, I wish he would have had the stamina, maybe courage, maybe both,
Yeah.
to go further. Because we have to have honest elections in our country. And if we're afraid to challenge an election, we're in big trouble, you know? They say, if you challenge, they've challenged elections. The Democrats, look at Maxine Waters. How dare them, you know? They've challenged
2000.
Stacey Abrams.
Yeah.
Almost all of the Democrats challenged.
Yeah.
But when we challenge, they say, he's a threat to democracy.
Yeah.
These are con artists, and they're very bad for our country.
Yeah.
So I'm going to weed them out. I'm going to weed them out. I'll do it in honor of you.
Okay. So tell me this. So tell me this situation. Okay. Barron is 18. He's
Yeah.
handsome. He's
Yeah.
tall.
Yeah.
He's rich.
He's got the whole ball game.
He's
that kid.
unleashed in New York City.
It's,
Are you sure you want to reverse Roe v. Wade now? I mean, maybe
Yeah.
give him a few years, you know.
well,
get
you know,
his-
it's up to the states now. It's up to the states
Yeah.
because I believe in exceptions and all of the different
Yes.
things.
You've been vocal about that.
I've been very.
Would you
well-
try to
no,
influence-
I mean, I think a lot of people agree with me.
Yeah.
You know, it was very, very strong, very, very tough. And Republicans were going to lose a lot of elections having to do with a lot of other things, too, because there are many issues. We have the border, we have
Yeah.
this, we have wars, we have everything.
yeah.
And Roe v. Wade was always about getting it back to the states.
Yeah.
And then people started talking about the number of weeks and this, that, all these. But nobody wanted, no legal scholar, no Democrat, no Republican, liberal, conservative, nobody wanted it in the federal government. It shouldn't be in the federal government. And the legal scholars, it was abhorrent. They didn't want it, and they didn't want it in the federal government.
Now-
and it was in the federal government.
I know you said- sorry.
What we did is, we moved it back to the states and a vote of the people.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're voting. Ohio voted a very liberal, you know, Ohio, I won Ohio by a lot, but they voted, and it's up to them.
Yeah.
Okay, I do believe in exceptions. Life of the mother, rape, and incest.
Right.
If your daughter's raped by somebody, and
Yeah.
let's say he's from a prison someplace and he's
Yeah.
killed people and everything else, yeah, absolutely, you have to be able to do.
Yeah.
There are some people, and I think that group is smaller and smaller when they realize what's going on, but there are some people that under no circumstances can you do it. I don't happen to agree. Ronald Reagan didn't agree. But what has happened is it's now back in the states where it belongs. And the states are moving along, and they're approving things.
So-
some
real
some
quick,
conservative and some liberal.
There's some places. My wife and I had a baby through IVF, and you've been very supportive of IVF.
I was totally.
I really love that. You said
Totally.
that you guys were going to
Right
pay
from
for
the
it,
beginning.
and I would love to get the refund or whatever once that happens when
Yeah.
the government.
But I actually said, we want babies in our country.
And we do.
Yeah.
But
So now
there are some people using that reversal of Roe v. Wade to kind of attack the legality of IVF. And to me, it's like, that's heartbreaking.
These are crooked politicians. These are politicians. Now, I'll give you an example. I came out, when it first came up, and it started in Alabama, where a judge ruled that you couldn't do IVF, and all clinics all over Alabama was going to shut down, were going to be shut down. And I wasn't an expert on IVF, but I have common sense. You know, we're the party of common sense.
Yeah.
And some women called me, and actually Katie Britt called me, the senator from Alabama, who's really a young, good politician, smart, great husband, who was a football player, great family. She called me up, she said, "Sir, women have come to me and almost attacked me, and they're my best friends, that the judge shut down IVF." He's a very, conservative judge. And he shut down IVF. And I said, "Let's explain it, tell me." And she told me, I said, "No, it's a great thing. It's helping women have babies." And she didn't know her friends were all going through IVF.
It's so much
she
more
didn't know
common
it.
than people
Right.
realize. Yeah.
Well, but they don't talk about it. Let's say somebody's
People
doing.
are
I mean,
quite
I understand.
uncomfortable, yeah.
I never had big discussions. I know this. If you're a woman and you're going through, you're not going to be telling Katie Britt, and you're not going to
Yeah.
be telling your friends, "Hey, I'm going through IVF."
Yeah.
Some will, and some won't.
Yeah.
But she didn't know anything about her friends, and they were good friends of hers. She said, "They're literally attacking me." I
Yeah.
said, "Well, what is it?" After about 5 minutes, I'm a quick study, I said, "That's a great thing." And I came out within 45 minutes of the decision. I came out strongly in favor on behalf of the Republican Party. And I have calls from senators saying, "Thank you, sir, you saved my political career."
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they might have come out, who
Save their
knew?
family, too.
But here's what does happen, which is really, we get calls that just the other day, that this total lying politician that's running, that ruined San Francisco, she destroyed San Francisco with her very liberal policies, and she destroyed the
Gavin
state of
Newsom?
No, it's her. But Gavin Newsom, I call him Gavin Newscum. Gavin Newsom.
That's a good one.
No,
That's
he's a
good.
terrible. He's a
That
terrible.
was Pume.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
No, no.
That was Pume.
Gavin Newsom. He doesn't like that name, but he is.
Good hair, though.
Gavin, he probably does, yeah.
Yeah, he is nice.
I don't know. Yours?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I don't know.
Pretty good.
Don't take your hat off. Because you never know. Sometimes the guy will take his hat off. He has good hair. I say, "Boy, you are." Right? And usually it's bald. No, 95% of the time. There's always a reason. Usually a reason, and that's okay too. But what I do, I get a call, and they say that Kamala, said that I'm against IVF, okay, that I'm against it. They know it's untrue. But all of the lies that they
Positioning
do,
in a
so
way.
many different
Yeah.
things. The bloodbath, that was about the auto industry, but the word is a tough word. China's going to take all our auto business if we go all electric and all this stuff. And
Yeah.
the head of the union, I said, is a fool. He sold the union down. I'm doing great with it. You notice where the Teamsters like me, and they all like me. The workers like
Yeah.
me because I'm going to.
Seems to be that way
Yeah, it
always,
seems
yeah.
to be. Even unions that have never been with a Republican before are endorsing me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. The Teamsters voted 61% in favor of Trump. Think of that. I'll tell you, the FBI would be in favor. Almost everybody. I think almost everybody would be in favor.
Yeah.
But they lie, and they say, and they know it's a lie. Charlottesville. The Charlottesville statement was perfect. If they take the next sentence that I gave, I made a statement on it. It was a perfect statement. And if you take, but they never take the next sentence. They cut it off.
And then there's no
Even the other one,
accountability.
peacefully and patriotically. In my speech,
Yeah.
I talked about peacefully and patriotically. They never show that. They never talk about it. To show you how dishonest they are, the J6 committee, I call it the unselect, they call it the select committee. I call it the unselect committee of political hacks and thugs. They never talk about my speech
Yeah.
because it was a good speech. It was a patriotic speech.
Are you numb to this now, or
No, I
does
never
it
get
still
numb to
bother
it.
you?
No, it bothers me. I'll tell you what bothers me. Kamala the other day said he is against IVF, and everybody knows that that's false.
Yeah.
When I came out, people were a little surprised actually because in theory, but I came out strongly in favor of IVF. She has an add-on that I'm against IVF. She knows it's untrue. She has an add-on that bloodbath. Bloodbath means like blood, and that's not what I was talking about. The automobile industry. It's going to be a bloodbath in the automobile. We're going to lose all our business.
Yeah.
That's what it's referring to. When they do things, and they do a lot, but I always refer them back to the simplicity of McDonald's. She lied about McDonald's. She lied about many things, and she's a liar. There should be some kind of a rule when they know it's a lie, you can't do a commercial on it. But this is a thing that's going to end in 29 days, so they can say what they want. I have a hard time doing it to them because I'm basically a truthful person. But and frankly, she's given me so much ammunition. I don't really have to. I mean, she's a radical left lunatic who will destroy our nation. Other than that, but she will destroy our nation. So when you take a look at it. And I think that, just getting back to your original thought on the abortion, having it back in the States, the people are now voting on it, and we're going to put an end to a 52-year ordeal. This has been going on for 52 years.
Yeah.
It's back with the States, and it's a vote of the people.
Yeah.
And that's where everybody wanted it to be. And I think that issue is largely quelled because of that.
You've said like Arizona you think went a little bit too far. If you feel a state goes a little bit too far, will you use a little influence and say, hey, maybe and then says we can make
I
exceptions?
would. Oh, no, I won't back it. I won't back it. I think
I think that's important for moderates to hear. That's why I want to give you the
I
opportunity
won't
to
back
say
it.
that.
No, some
Especially
states
for
say
women
no
to
weeks.
hear.
Yeah.
But they're all changing because the people in the state won't stand for that. There are some states that say, under no circumstances, you have a daughter and she's raped by the worst, most violent criminal in the country, and you cannot get, her. You cannot take
She
her
has to live with
and
that for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
she's got to live with this. And, the father is a monster. He's from an insane asylum because he killed 50 people.
Yeah.
And you're going to have that baby.
Yeah.
And I can't
You have to
believe.
have empathy for that.
No,
Yeah,
no,
you
I
have to,
can't
yeah.
believe that people are forced to do that.
Yes.
And you have a tiny, right now, it used to be a much bigger segment.
Yeah.
No, I think I've done a good job in a lot of ways because I've convinced people that you just can't do that.
No, that's important.
It's always been complex. It's always been tough. But we've come a long way with that issue. But just in a nutshell, bringing it back to the states and giving a vote of the people is where they wanted it 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. And then they got a little complex. They talked about the length and the number of
But
weeks.
with
and stuff.
protections, with protections for women and
To me, you have to.
circumstances.
Ronald Reagan, a long time ago, was with the same three protections.
Yeah.
He said he wanted, for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. And that was a long time ago.
Okay, you have a very busy day. Before you go, what would you like your legacy to be, and what do you think it will be?
So,
And thank you very much for taking
two
the time.
very different questions, actually, I think. But
What would you like it to be?
I took over a country that was very troubled. This country was broken up and tremendous dissension. And Barack Obama started it. And if you take a look, it was very, very badly broken. And I think now with Biden, let's forget her for a second, but with Biden and her, part of it, big part of it, but with Biden, there's tremendous dissension. The country is a broken up mess. And it's broken in a lot of ways. But what I would like my legacy to be is the same as the term MAGA, Make America Great Again. I'm going to make this country great again. It's not a great country right now. It's loaded
It's
up.
always a great country.
It's a great country.
See, that's
It's
why I
always a
disagree.
great country.
Okay, but I say it has the potential, and it was a great country. I think now there's so much hatred and there's so much dissension. I think when you have people that can't walk down Fifth Avenue, when you have people that can't walk down a street, it ceases to be.
We can always be better. We can always be better.
Yeah, but you can't blindfold yourself to
No,
say.
I'm honest
you know.
about it. But to me, I'm really proud of America because I think that I think I can be the best version of myself here. You know, I think that Donald Trump can only happen in America. Your life, what has happened to you, this is an American story. My mom's life is an American story. Like, my mom's from Scotland. She comes here and has all the success. And she's so grateful of what America is. That doesn't mean that we can't make it better. I like the idea of making it better every single time, fixing these things when there's leaks in the ship. But the idea of America and becoming the greatest version of yourself is something I'll always be proud of.
So,
And I
so
like
I
when-
understand
yeah.
what you're saying. When I was president, we had no wars in the whole world because of me. I stopped a lot of wars from
That
happening.
makes me proud.
Right. But it's just not happening now.
That-
Right now, people are dying in Ukraine
Yeah.
because we had an incompetent president. If we had a president that knew what the hell he was doing, Ukraine would have never happened. Israel would have never happened.
Yeah.
All those people that are dying on both sides,
Yeah.
that would have never happened. Afghanistan, people falling off airplanes from think of that,
Yeah.
from 3,500 feet above the ground,
Yeah.
3 times the height of the Empire State Building, off the side of the airplane.
Yeah.
All of this horrible stuff would have never happened. Inflation would have never happened because that was caused by energy and
Yeah.
the stupid energy.
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
So, look, we love our country,
Yeah.
and it's had moments of greatness, but I think it's a declining. It's so sad what's happened. We're a nation in decline, and we can't let it be declined. I'll give you an example. We're going to lose our monetary base very soon because, countries are going off the dollar. I'm going to get them back on the dollar. I'm going to say, you got to go back on you're not going to do any business with, you got to do it. But I do think this, where I really agree with you, we have tremendous potential.
Yeah.
And I say it, make America great again.
Yeah.
And I just want to, I would like to have it. I used to have something, I was going to use it, and I didn't use it because the country started to do badly. CAG, not MAGA, CAG. I never liked the word CAG, but it was Keep America Great. You like that better.
I like this.
But see, I couldn't use it because we had so many problems.
Yeah.
So I want to
It
say,
also
make it-
sounds like that other word.
it doesn't work as well. Look, there's never going to be another MAGA. I don't know. I came up with a phrase that just turned out to be MAGA.
Yeah.
No, it's the greatest movement, political movement in the history of our country.
Yeah.
And these are people that really love our country and they want it to be great. And we're going to make it great again. That was what I would like to do, is make this country so great, better than what you're even thinking. And you are. I mean, I love your attitude because I
that.
think that's the way you should be.
I think that's
Sorry, there's one thing I want to give you, a rumor I'd like to give you a chance to dispel, and then one question, if you have time, I'd like to ask selfishly. Rumor, the far left, I think, says this thing that, if Donald Trump wins, he's never going to cede power. Then they have some clip of you saying, just vote for me one time, you won't have to vote again. I don't believe this is true. I want to give you a chance to
You're
publicly
right.
say that's nonsense,
Yeah.
just so you can publicly speak
you're
to any
right.
moderates out there.
So what I said, Christians tend to vote at a very low percentage for some reason, and so do gun owners. Would you believe it? The NRA, gun owners tend not to vote. Maybe it's a rebellious thing. I don't know.
maybe.
I said, look, our country's in big trouble, really big trouble with the border, with all the problems. We can solve the problem. But vote this one time. After that, we're not going to need it to. This is the most important election in the history of our country. Vote for this most important election. And then if you don't want to vote, we're going to have elections, but you don't have to vote because it's going to go along swimmingly.
That's how I
We-
interpreted it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and I
how
think they're
everybody.
twisting it. I just
By
want to
the
give
way,
you the chance
that's
to-
how they interpreted
Yes.
it too.
Yes.
It's-
They know what
you
you're
got to
saying.
vote this
Yeah.
time because we can't wait 4 years. Because you know what? In another 4 years, like we've just had with this clown that's a president, that's just a clown, a foolish man. Don't forget, he was a stupid man 25 years ago. He was never a smart man. He's run many times. Isn't it amazing? He's run many times, and he gets it when he's in serious decline. Okay. But anyway, so everybody knows that.
Okay.
And that's what I meant by it.
Yeah.
It means we got to fix it.
Yeah.
And then it's going to work beautifully. It's going to run beautifully. We're going to have elections every 2 years, and every 4 years, it's going to be great.
I just want to give you a chance to say that to
And what was
moderates.
your
And-
second
And if I
point?
could ask one question. Everybody I speak to, every race, creed, whatever, they don't just like you, they love you. And I talk to people on both sides about your policies, and a lot of people like your policies. The China tariff that's still in place right now is an example of policy that people love. I think sometimes what we love about you as comedians is you shoot from the hip, but then that gets twisted into this rhetoric that adds gasoline onto everything. So the one thing I would like, as I think a moderate person, is maybe if you get elected, would you be a little bit more mindful of how powerful your words are for better and for worse?
I will, and I'm going to think of you every time.
Let's go. I might actually vote.
I'm going to be thinking of you. No, it's true. I mean, I understand that. Sometimes they say, "Oh, could you be a little bit more?" But you're doing a lot of things, and you're solving a lot of problems.
Yeah.
I stopped wars that nobody will ever know about. They won't write about. But countries that were fighting each other and didn't affect us much, but they did business with us. I called up 2 countries that have fought for thousands of years, killing each other for years, and I said, "You guys are at it again." I heard it was going to start up. I stopped it when I first came in, and I said, "Listen, here's the story. If you go to war with each other, I can give you the details, but I don't even want to bother because it's nice now." I said, "You're not going to do any more business with the United States. I'm going to cut you off 100%. And if you do get through, I'm going to charge you 200% tariffs. You won't be able to survive. So work it out. Work it out." You know, it was a country that split, and they've been fighting for years, the two halves of thousands, I think like thousands. I get a call, and I forget about it, but I had a rough call with them. And I said, "I'm going to charge you tariffs, and you're going to be cut off. No more business, and if they don't have the United States, it's a problem."
Yeah.
And we have to keep it that way. We have to keep our country strong so we can do this. I mean, if our
that's
country
leverage,
is weak,
right?
we don't have that. You know, if we keep getting weaker and weaker, which is happening, we're not going to let that happen. So I get a call 2 weeks later, 2 days later. "Sir, we've worked it all out. Thank you very much." And I go about my business. I saved thousands of lives, hundreds of thousands of lives. They've been killing each other for years, for centuries. And I saved thousands of lives. And nobody writes about it. Many people don't even know that's the reason, you know, things are good. And I had it out with them. I said, "You guys are crazy. You do that, no more doing business with the United States. You're cut off 100%. You're dead. You're not going to do 10 cents worth of business." And I even said the tariff thing, but the first was actually even more powerful. And that's it. I forget about it. I go about doing my business. 2 days later, I said, "Congratulations." So what? On what? So-and-so and so-and-so. They're not going to have a war. They made peace. I've done so many things like that. And none of them
hit the news
most
cycle.
of them aren't.
None
really,
of them are noticed.
No, most of them aren't really known. You know, I've made countries do things for us because they were treating us unfairly, and I've gotten things for our country that nobody else. I really think nobody else could have done, but I enjoy doing it for our country. And you know, just to get back to where you originally started, I want to make America great again. I want to make it so great that people won't question it, so that people can say what you just said. That, no, it's great. I don't want to have a question. Why should I or anybody else say, no, it's not great anymore? I don't want to be in that position. I think I want to make it so that when you ask a question like that, we can say, well, it's a great, great country. We love our country, but we can do a couple of little things.
I think we need that.
I'll put that in our, we want to put that in our basket.
I love that. And well, first of all, thank you so much for
This
this.
is an honor.
I would be remiss to not even bring this up. You've said that you want to have peace in these places, not just Russia and Ukraine, it's obviously the Middle East. I know that is a very tough task. I don't think maybe you get enough credit for what you accomplished and your administration accomplished with the Abraham Accords.
The Abraham Accords, and they did nothing. Again, Iran was willing to do a deal. I would have had a deal with Iran within 7 days after the election. I actually said, let's delay it till after the election because I was sure we were going to win the election. But things happened. You know, COVID happened.
Of course,
it
there's
was
a lot of things going on.
It was a mess.
But still, I think it's something that a diplomacy out in that region that hasn't existed prior. Is that something I would imagine that would be at the forefront of this next administration?
You know, there are great philosophers that said the world will end in the Middle East. We're not going to let that happen. You've heard that expression.
Yeah.
They said the world will end someday in the Middle East. We're not going to let that happen. Okay?
Well, listen, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. President. I really appreciate it. Guys,
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
that was awesome.